Hi everyone, we've got a very special treat for you today. It's a whole bunch of Agile questions that you can use for your Agile Certified Practitioner, your PMP exam, or any of the other Agile exams out there, or you can use to test the knowledge in your own team if you're working in an Agile methodology in your organization. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. We've got scenario-based questions so you can find out what will happen in the real-world situations, and also knowledge-based questions relation to Agile as well. Let's jump straight into it and see how we go. The first question, you're working as an Agile project manager, and the executive manager who will own the product, so potentially the product owner maybe, you're delivering, would like to focus primarily on only set processes and tools to manage the project. Okay, this sounds sort of in direct competition to Agile or opposite to Agile. So let's see what we're going to say. What will you recommend to them instead of set processes and tools? Well, we could focus on the definition of success as defined by the project manager. I mean, maybe, but usually the product owner, they're sort of the customer that we're working towards, so they're who we really want to please in this situation. So maybe not that one. We focus primarily on the individuals and interactions involved. That's got potential because that's part of the Agile manifesto as well. Focus primarily on the scope of the project, probably not in an Agile scenario, and focus primarily on the schedule of the project. You know, these two things are important in a normal project management situation, like a waterfall potentially. But for Agile, we tend to focus on the individuals and the interactions. We make self-forming teams if we can around people who really believe in the product and really want to get it done. And we focus on those individuals and the interactions like stand-ups and retrospectives and improving the processes and situation as well. So let's go with letter B for now. Answer B. The Agile Manifesto recommends focusing on individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Projects are run by people, products are developed by people for people to use, and our interactions either make or break a project. And that's why Agile is so powerful. How did you go? Let's go into the second question. The executive management in your organization has assembled a new team and dictated that they will use Agile for their product development. Okay, that does happen more often than you would expect as well. They're going to dictate that we're using Agile. Everyone must do this. As the project progresses, there is confusion about product scope and the definition of what done looks like. Okay, as an Agile project manager, what will you recommend to the executive team? Well, this is so great because you will come across this in your project management career and in your Agile career as well. So what are we going to do? Select a person from each part of the organization to assist, to ensure diversity. Look, diversity is important, but potentially this is not the answer in this particular scenario. If we have everyone from across the organization, they may not even be interested in what we're doing. So, let's not say that one for now. We might have the functional manager select their friends or their favorite team members. Now that happens a lot as well, as you probably might experience or have experienced before, but this particular approach is not the best approach in this scenario. Their friends may not actually be the best person for the job, and that will happen from time to time. We could encourage a self-organizing team to form, including the people who asked for the requirements in the first place and the outcomes. Oh, now these people are going to be super invested in this product. They're really going to understand what they want and what they need out of this project. So this is going to be a really good one. I think this is probably going to be a good one to go with. Or lastly, we could hire external consultants to run the project and create the product. Okay, this happens a lot as well in an organization. So you will see this happen a lot in your career. But what happens when you hire someone externally? They don't usually understand the business that you're working in or that they're working in even. So they're going to have a lot of lead time to get up to speed in what's happening. Probably not the best scenario. For this one, let's go with letter C. Answer C. Agile encourages self-organizing teams composed of the people who created the requirements and had the desired outcome in the first place. This gives a higher level of ownership, of course, and product expertise as well. And you can't buy this sort of thing. So this is why it's so valuable, and this is why Agile works as well. How did you go? Let's go into question 3. You're running an Agile project and you meet with the team for the next sprint planning meeting. Fantastic. What will you do next? Okay, great. A great scenario-based question. What will we do? Will we negotiate the scope and costs of the project with the project sponsor? Definitely not. Project scope and costs, this happens before the Agile team forms usually. And so once you've got an idea of the scope, which may change of course, but the costs are usually fixed. So we've got a fixed cost, and then we keep rolling out features and keep rolling out features until we either run out of money or run out of time. And so that's it's probably not going to be letter A. Let's check out letter B. Walk through the 3 questions with the team. What did I do yesterday? What will I do today? And is there anything blocking me? What's this describing? This is describing the stand-up, the daily stand-up. So it's probably not the stand-up that we're going to do at a sprint planning meeting. Let's check out letter C. The dev team, the development team, demonstrates the working feature to the product owner, who marks it as complete. That's a demonstration or review. So a sprint review happens at the end of the sprint. So I don't know. I think we're planning for the next sprint planning meeting. Look, I don't think we're going to be doing the review, the product review at this point. So let's check out the last one. The product owner shares the updated backlog. Okay, this looks promising. And the team discusses it to ensure a shared understanding. Okay, look, this letter D probably looks the most promising to me because the product owner needs to come with the features that they want developed in their prioritized order. And then the development team or the entire team can discuss it to make sure that everyone understands. And that way we know what we're potentially going to be developing over the next sprint or the next 2 weeks. So let's go with letter D for now. Answer D, that's fantastic. The product owner should share the updated backlog items and ensure that the entire team has a really good understanding of how to move forward and what we will be working on over this sprint. So this is wonderful, wonderful way to do it. Shared understanding, visibility of everything involved. How did you go? Let's go into question 4. Question 4, you're a project manager working on an agile project and you want your team to maximize the value they bring to the customer. What can you eliminate in order to maximize project value? Okay, this is going to be great. Could we eliminate daily stand-ups? No, not in an agile team because we want that visibility and we want everyone to be on the same page. Could we eliminate unnecessary features? Probably, yes. And we're always reviewing that. So we've got our backlog of work and our list of features. We always want to be reviewing this. We want this one, maybe we don't want this one, or maybe they can wait until later. And maybe we still want this one. So we're continually prioritizing that feature backlog. So yes, I reckon letter B, sprint reviews, we really want to keep as an agile team, and testing, we really do want to keep testing. We want to make sure that we're releasing quality items. That's very, very important. Let's go with answer B. Answer B, how did you go? In addition to eliminating the introduction of unnecessary features, oh boy, and that is a big one in an agile team. I mean, in an agile team, sometimes you'll get people saying, oh, just work on this one. Oh, it won't take you very long. Yeah, but while you're working on this extra feature, it's taking you away from your goal, and you need to make sure you have a really, really clear goal and you're working towards that goal as the agile team. And that's the role of the product owner. Very, very important. Value can be maximized by eliminating partially done work, can be eliminating delays, extra processes and features, task switching, so context switching, amazing loss there if that happens. Any waiting, all of this is waste that you'll see in normal project teams that we want to reduce as an agile team. We're getting rid of waiting, moving information or a deliverable, and defects or rework, that's a really big one, and handoffs as well. Because every time we're handing something off, that new person has to get up to speed on that item, and that takes time, and that is a waste. So the answer is B. Excellent. How did you go? Let's jump into the next question. You're working on a project and the team have recently moved to an agile way of work. Okay, you'll see this happen a lot. This will happen to you in your career. One of the team members is confused about Scrum and what typically happens after the sprint review. Okay, this is the demonstration, basically the demonstration of the product or the working feature at the end of the sprint. So what will you tell them happens next? Okay, hold a sprint retrospective with the team. That could happen, yes. So you might have the demo at the end of the sprint, and then you might have the retrospective. So that's that could happen. You might perform a backlog refinement with the product owner. No, that usually happens before the iteration planning, before the sprint. You might perform story card elaboration with the three amigos, the business or product owner, the developers and testers. Again, that happens before iteration planning when we're elaborating on all of the cards and the story cards that we need to put into the sprint. And holding a daily scrum. Well, that happens every day. So look, it's a good one to have, but it's probably not going to be that one. Probably not going to be that one, and probably not going to be this one. I think the best case scenario is to hold a retrospective at the end of our sprint. Once the sprint review is done, let's check it out and see. A sprint retrospective is held with the whole team after the sprint review, but before the next sprint planning meeting. We use it to gather lessons learned and look for opportunities for improvement, and everyone has a voice for feedback to improve things before the next sprint. We're improving the process and incrementally getting better. This is really, really great. Okay, how did you go? Next question, question 6. You're working in an Agile team and preparing the Agile team charter. This is our way of work, our agreement, our team agreement. This is great. You work with the Agile team to ensure the team charter answers these 4 questions. Why are we doing this project? Who benefits from the project? And then the next 2, let's have a look. When will the project end? Some people might be asking that to themselves, but we're probably not going to put that in the team charter necessarily. And what do we do with the product? Not really in the team charter. What does done mean for the project, potentially? And how are we going to work together? That's also a good one, because this is our team agreement. How are we going to have meetings? You know, what is okay within the team and what's not okay within the team? This is a really wonderful thing. And how much, okay, let's look at the next 2. How much risk is on the project? This will come up, and it is an important question, but it's not going to go in the team charter. What's the project scope? Same deal there. They're more your classic project management questions that will go in your project management plan or your PMP. How many defects are allowed in the product? How many defects are allowed? Well, look, quality is everyone's responsibility. Ideally, we'd have 0 defects, obviously, but this is something that we're continually working on in a development team and in any project management team. And how many testers are there? Again, look, these things don't go into the team charter, so I think it's going to be answer B. Let's have a look. Fantastic, answer B. The Agile Team Charter typically covers why we're doing the project, who benefits, what does done look like, and how are we going to work together. And that's from the Agile Practice Guide, that wonderful practice guide from the Project Management Institute, or the PMI. How did you go? Let's go into question 7. You're working with a new Agile project manager and explain that Agile favors value-based measurements instead of predictive-based measurements on a project. So yeah, we're not trying to predict things into the future, but we are trying to see how our velocity is going, how much work is getting done, and reducing waste at the same time. So what is an example of value-based measurements? Let's have a look. Earned value management. Now that's definitely from Waterfall. So that's from your classic project management body of knowledge. You'll find that a lot. And the schedule performance index, same thing for that. So variance analysis and estimate to complete, again, big ones there in the PMBOK guide you will find. Probably not an agile way of work. Feature burn down chart, the features delivered, and customer satisfaction. This is definitely value. So we're probably going to be measuring these, and these are actual things that we have delivered and that we are doing and are improving. So it's probably going to be C. Let's have a look at D, variance at completion and cost performance index. Again, big things in the project management body of knowledge and in traditional waterfall methodologies, but probably not in our Agile project. Let's go with answer C. Answer C. Agile works with value delivered as its primary measurement. All the other options are predictive measurements from a traditional project management methodology. How did you go? I hope you're doing great. We're getting through them. I mean, isn't this wonderful? And how's your knowledge of Agile going? I hope it's pretty good. This is a great way to learn as well. Let's look at question 8. Agile Unified Process. Oh, this is great. So these are some knowledge-based questions. It's an auxiliary Agile method, and it focuses on performing more iterative cycles across 7 key disciplines. And some of these disciplines, some of these processes or methods are where Agile was actually formed. It was a combination of all of these different things, and AUP was one of those things. So we're incorporating the associated feedback before formal delivery, but what's not one of the 7 key disciplines within a release for Agile Unified Process. And if you get one of these questions about one of these auxiliary methods, then just think back to the standard Agile practices and processes and things and methods that you will use in a normal Agile project, and usually it will match up with some of those. So let's have a look. So we want the discipline of the high-level model. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's a potential one. With feature-driven development, we develop a model first, and then we deliver parts of that model until it's all complete, and then we do it all again. Discipline in managing stakeholders' expectations. Look, I mean, that's important in any project. but it's probably not one of the things that we'd call out in an agile project. We always want to be communicating with the stakeholders instead of managing their expectations, really. So it's probably not going to be that one, I think. I reckon that could be our answer of what is not one of these disciplines. Discipline in testing. Testing is really important, especially in an agile project. Discipline in configuration management. Configuration management is where we're uploading a part of the code every day so that we can, and we're testing it so that we can see if it's worked and merging all of these things together to see if it's broken anything. So what's not one of these disciplines? It's probably going to be answer B. Answer B. Agile focuses on transparency to ensure the customer needs are met, not in specifically managing customer expectations. And again, that's from the Agile Practice Guide, a wonderful book. Really, really recommend that you check that out. How did you go? Let's look at question 9. You're leading a coaching session with your project team on the additional Agile and Lean frameworks that have contributed to the Agile way of work. Fantastic. What frameworks will you share with the team? So Agile and Lean frameworks, let's have a look. Project management plan and project charter. Not Agile and Lean framework. Scaled Agile framework, large scale Scrum. These are additional Agile and Lean frameworks. Yes, they are. And potentially these are scaling methodologies where we're now using them across teams, and we've got multiple people, and then you might have across teams again. So we're looking at programs and portfolios instead of just projects themselves. Potentially answer B, working group meetings, post-mortem project meetings. Probably not that one. Normal projects. Flowcharting and affinity diagrams. Flowcharting and affinity diagrams. You may use these with quality and lean methodologies, but they're not specifically lean methodologies. They're more, a business analyst might use these to extract information, but I'm probably going to say it's not that. Let's go with answer B for now. That's great, answer B. Agile and Lean frameworks include scaled Agile framework. So SAFe. It's a SAFe framework. Large-scale Scrum or less, Scrum of Scrums, SOS, Dynamic Systems Development Method, DSDM, along with more common Kanban, Extreme Programming or XP, and Scrum. And that's fantastic. That's from the Agile Practice Guide. Let's look at question 10. I hope you're going well. We're really getting through them and you're doing great. Last one, introduced by Alexander Coburn in his book Crystal Clear and created at IBM in 1991. Look at that. I mean, how many years? Ooh, 30 years ago. So that's how much history there is with Agile now. It was created in 1991, part of this methodology. It's a framework for focusing on individuals and their interactions, which is one of our key Agile things that we go through, that you learn at the first part of Agile. Now it's opposed to processes and tools. It's the first Agile principle, as we know. It is not a set process, but it's a guideline for the team to collaborate and for them to communicate. So which is not one of the core beliefs of Crystal. Let's have a look. Okay, technologies change techniques. Okay, that's potentially one that we want to keep, because the technologies that we use, we may need to change the techniques that we're using depending on the technology that we're using. If we're all in the same place, we might be able to have daily stand-ups in the same room. If we have access to video conferencing or other messaging tools online, especially during a pandemic, for example, then we might change the techniques that we're going to do as a team. Let's keep that. People change functions. Oh gosh, I'm not sure about that one. Cultures change norms, so the culture in an organization will change the norms that we have, the normal things that we do, so we're probably going to keep that. And distances change communication. Of course, if you're co-located, much easier to look over your shoulder and say, hey Billy, have you got that information that I need? And Billy can say, yes, I sure do, and it's right there. But if if we've got teams in Shanghai, teams in New Zealand, teams in England, then it's going to be very different communication. And that's part of the important part that Alexander Coburn was calling out as part of his methodology. So I think the one that does not match here is people change functions. Let's go with answer B. Answer B. Crystal Clear describes the 3 core beliefs as technologies changing techniques, cultures changing norms, and distances changing communication. All reasons behind the core practices of Agile, such as stand-ups, collaborative user story creation, retrospectives, and the whole team approach. And that is 10 wonderful questions into Agile. How's your knowledge? Did you learn anything? Did you already know everything? Well, either way, I hope it's been a whole bunch of fun, and I've really enjoyed spending this time with you as well. I'll see you in the next video. We might do some more questions in Agile coming up soon, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.